1 month later. Or, excuse me, 4 weeks later. SpongeBob narrator voice. Yeah, so episode 20 did something that is a head-scratching decision on the part of the writers. I mean, I think it goes about saying that all the fans felt some kind of way about season 8 being a drastic departure, pacing-wise, from season 7. I mean, season 7, for all of its issues, no one can sit here and say season 7 was only a few days. Time was rolling in that season. Where some episodes we would cover the course of 2 to 3 days. Then we had like a couple episodes where, based on dialogue, we were to assume that several days passed between episodes. One episode even started with the caption 2 weeks later. But then when we get to episode 8, they slowed it down where we had only covered the course of about 3, maybe 4 days tops. So between episode 1 and episode 19, it was like 4 days. Then in the promo for episode 20, it's like, finally, we're getting to the quote-unquote end of the week, because the cast always talks about how each season is like 1 week. And that's what makes it funny, because I'm recording this after I've, sat through a week of Beyond the Gates. And man, that show, the fact that the pacing of that show, 5 episodes, in my opinion, has been way better than the entirety of Sistas season 8 is very telling. But going back to Sistas, because that's what I'm talking about in this video, we jumped 1 month, one flipping month. And if memory serves, the cliffhanger ending of episode 19 was like a mixture of things from like Hayden getting pistol whipped, what was the other? Oh yeah, Jordan strangling Gary in the hospital. Then we jump forward a month, and this episode was just really confusing. It really was, because on the one hand, you had the situation of Andy being competent again, because it's been a month. She finally had her first day as partner. But then other things are just super confusing too, when you look at Hayden in the situation with getting pistol whipped, and it's like, bro, that was a month ago. You mean to tell me that you still got bruises from that? Like, what's going on here? And it wasn't until, yeah, I know the little caption said 4 weeks later, but as I explained online, I think it was on Twitter, when I'm watching on YouTube TV, like let's say The Neighborhood or just a random movie happens to be on BET before Sister starts, the episode that I'm watching of whatever show will just make the screen go black the moment the end credits show up, and then it instantly like spits me out into Sisters. Sometimes I don't even see the previously on Sisters. Sometimes I'm just randomly thrown into like the first 2 minutes of an episode. So I missed it when it said 4 weeks later. So when Andy was talking to the partners and everything, it just felt like a dream. Like, wait, is she dreaming all this crap? But then no, when we get to the airport and it was confirmed that Danny's been out of work for a month without pay, that was the confirmation, like, holy crap, we really did skip forward a month. But there are just so many questions about this and the decision to make it. For one, we don't see Jordan be apprehended. We just see him in jail. Oh, also side note, people are like, so Sabrina came back from that like work trip with Damani, and they're talking about how co-workers and other employees and whatnot were all tipsy and stuff. So if she was drinking on the trip, why was she drinking on the trip? What about her baby? Here's the thing with that. Sabrina said that she's not ready to get pregnant now. What her body was going through was the necessary hormonal balancing and whatnot, so she can go through the egg extraction process to have them frozen. A month has passed since she made that phone call to the clinic approving of Damani's sperm. So a month later, at this point, Sabrina is fine. She's able to have sex again. Because remember, she told Rich she couldn't be penetrated right now because her body would just be too sore. But since a month has passed, she's good to go. She could do what she wants. She could eat what she wants. She could drink what she wants. Not until the point where she wants to actually get pregnant, which she had to worry about drinking and whatnot. So Sabrina's good to go. And then on top of that, Sabrina not realizing after a month that her and Rich were truly through, thinking like, well, you broke up with me. And then Rich's like, well, I didn't break up with you. I ghosted you. There's a difference or something like that. So her not wanting to, you know, get into anything with Damani just yet is due to her needing to get confirmation from Rich, which seems completely irrelevant at this point, because to Rich, the moment she said, I choose me, that was the end of their relationship. And then on top of that, the murder board is just weird. So you mean to tell me Zach has had a month and he still didn't figure out who did it, or couldn't come up with a conclusion until he allegedly came up with a conclusion in episode 20, which sadly we never get to find out what he thought as the person who did it. Now my theory is Jasmine, mainly due to the fact that he looked at two specific points on the board, which I did a separate video on, breaking down why I think it was her, or excuse me, why I think Zach is the one who thinks Jasmine did it, the ex-wife. Also, talking about, you know, weird dispositions, I can't get over the fact that Andy's been back to the law firm. It's been a month, and apparently she's been having this funky, cold attitude towards Robin, the owner of the firm, for over a month. And it's just like, you mean to tell me Robin has been allowing Andy and Fatima to act the way they have towards him, despite the I know somebody in the comments say, yo, this is just messed up, because I thought it was a dream, based off, like, you know, when Andy's like, sit down in front of all the other partners. And I'm thinking to myself, what? And the comment said, so you mean to tell me Andy has been and Fatima have been treating the owner of the firm like he's like the janitor or something like that? Like, come on now. Then also, episode 19, Marie told Karen her and Pam had 2 weeks to double the sales of their product for a $150,000 investment bonus, and on top of that, getting Roots to Riches in retail. Yet it's been a month and Karen still doesn't have any numbers to show. So what's up with that? Did like Marie decide to give him an extension or something, or I don't know. As far as Danny goes, I know Tony mentioned how, you know, Danny never wanted to see anything through the leadership program or therapy. Somebody actually made a good point. It's like, yeah, I know, Jeremy, you mentioned how she didn't go through therapy all the way, but you got to think of it from this perspective. She just got suspended without pay, and it's been a month, so she doesn't have the extra money to pay for therapy. And I'm like, oh, that's a good point. Then on top of that, you have Zach, where even though this is episode 21, aka the promo for this week's episode, where he mentions investing in Roots to Riches if he should do it, where would he get the money to do that? I mean, it's been a month later, so are we to assume that Zach is still a stay-at-home dad, doesn't have any money coming in? And if that's the case, how would he find money to invest in Roots to Riches? Also with Gary, I mean, like I said before, Jordan gets arrested, but we don't see him get apprehended. Like who catches him in the act of attempting to murder Gary. So Gary's just healed up and ready to be discharged. Are we to assume his memories still have not come back at all? And with Hudson and Marie's connection revealed, and the Fed still up, you know, Hudson's ass, like, is Gary still being investigated? Because remember, it was stated that Jordan was arrested, and at this point he's being charged with attempted murder. So they're trying to pin the stabbing on him. And if that's the case, are the Feds going back to their original investigation on Gary's illegal practices with his company? But since Hudson has power of attorney, well, had power of attorney, were they looking at him? And now that Hayden was able to have it revoked, are the Feds investigating Gary specifically again? And even, I mean, if his mind is still groggy, could he be exempt from some sort of like legal consequences due to the fact that he wouldn't be mentally able to like defend himself or whatnot? And then on top of that, I know I'm just piling on the things, but folks, when you really think about it, this month, Time Jump did a lot more harm than good. People were asking, wait a minute, what about Agent Watt? Wasn't he trying to get Fatima and Zach arrested if they didn't have an answer in 24 hours? As I mentioned before, Jordan has been charged with assault and attempted murder. And Fatima told Zach that apparently, based off what she heard Robin saying, they're trying to pin the stabbing on Jordan because they caught him attempting to kill Gary. So that's why Agent Watt has backed off, and Zach is still trying to piece things together. So yeah, this month thing is really wild. And then of course the main thing, Karen still hasn't had those babies, so she might go into labor during the finale. I feel like she probably will, due to the fact that she's really riding the brand ambassador train with Pam in order to get these sales up for that bonus. And I feel like just as things are looking up for Roots to Riches, that's when it's all going to crumble down when she goes into labor. So yeah, this month thing was wild. I mean, I don't really know the planning behind it. It just feels completely out of nowhere, because you tell us a month has passed, yet nothing has really changed when you think about it. So let me know your thoughts on the time jump. Was it unnecessary? And as always, like and subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next video.